Hello and welcome back to the channel. Really glad to have you here. Last video was about doing a DIY mullein flower oil. I hope you enjoyed the video. Either way, I'd like to continue talking about mullein. Mullein is actually one of the most wonderful herbs when it comes to healing any respiratory illness out there, whether it has to do with babies, children, or adults. Of course, the dosage does differ, and mullein is one of these herbs that can be used completely as a whole in terms of roots, leaves, flowers, and stems. So it's absolutely wonderful healer. Also, when it comes to any sort of wound healing, any sort of specific inflammations as well. The tall stems of mullein once burnt as tapers in funeral processions. They've also been used for scorpion stings, eye complaints, toothache, tonsillitis, and cough. So historically, they've also been used for these sort of ailments, and traditionally, they're also taken for wasting diseases such as tuberculosis. An infused oil, like what we did in the last previous video, is also made from the flowers in many parts of Europe for ailments as diverse as hemorrhoids and ear infections. And the infused oil is also really important when it comes to ear pain, when it comes to ear infections. As we said before, it really helps to stimulate blood circulation in and around the ears. It also helps to get rid of that accumulating earwax. The parts that are used basically are every single part of the mullein: the roots, the leaves, the stems, and the flowers. The flowers are really useful for dry, chronic, and hard coughs. The flowers are also effective for throat inflammations. Still made today, the infused oil is also used to treat and soothe inflammations, wounds, and earache. You need to harvest the flowers individually. Beautiful little yellow petals that are absolutely gorgeous. When it comes to the leaves are mainly used for respiratory disorders. So the leaves were at one time made into herbal tobacco and smoked for asthma and tuberculosis, as well as many of the respiratory illnesses such as coughs and flu and so forth. So you can also see that still the leaves will also be used in many of the different herbal smoke combinations. You can also check out on Etsy, they still do sell herbal smokes. I do not obviously advise to use these just because there are so much wonderful ways to use herbs other than smoke them. So if we could put them in tea, if we could have a tincture, a herbal honey, anything that is so much safer and better than smoke, but I mean, to each their own. Now keep in mind, if you do want to purchase mullein in bulk, you can purchase it from iHerb, from Amazon, from eBay. Make sure that you get the organic one. Also, the leaves as well as the flowers will be combined in the mixture, and the leaves of course will be more dominant. As you can see, I've prepared a few mullein plants that we collected from the forest on a hillside in a very dry and rough area. We found them by coincidence. We were super excited because we found a couple that were in the first year, a couple of other mullein plants that were also in their second year, and they were flowering very beautifully, quite abundant in the area. I've dried them using a dehydrator, and they will be stored in an airtight jar. And I will use them to make herbal infusions, tea mixtures, as well as infused oils for salves and creams and many other skincare recipes as well. So stay tuned. I know a couple of herbalists that use the whole plant to make a candle, dipping it in beeswax, and I'll do a video on that shortly. So I'll be trying it for the first time and hoping that it will work out. I'll also use the fresh leaves in all sorts of different smudge stick combinations as well, along with sage and rosemary and lavender. So the flowers can be used to make a tincture, can be used as gargle, as a syrup, or as a infused oil. With the tincture, you can either use alcohol or vegetable glycerin. We prefer the vegetable glycerin. And then once the tincture is complete, just take up to 20 ml a day for chronic dry coughs and throat inflammation. As for the gargle, just use a simple infusion of the flowers along with boiling water. As soon as the infusion has cooled down, use to gargle for throat inflammations. You can also use the flowers to make syrup, and you can use whatever sweetener you prefer. to make that syrup. You can use honey or any other sweetener of your choice, and you take the syrup that's made from the infusion for chronic hard coughs. With the infused oil, you make the infused oil by using the flowers, using the cold infusion method, and you use the drops also for earache, as we've done in the previous video. And this can only be used if you are certain that the eardrum is not damaged in any way. You can use also the infused oil to make a salve on wounds, hemorrhoids, eczema, or inflamed eyelids. With the leaves, you can make the well-known infusion by using the dried leaves, 50 grams to 500 mils of water for chronic coughs and throat inflammations. Also, you can use the leaves to promote sweating, and they're really useful for feverish chills with hard coughs. You can also make a tincture with the leaves and use the tincture for chronic respiratory disorders. You can combine also the leaves with stimulating mucus reducing herbs such as mulberry bark, sweet violet, aniseed, or thyme. You can get the herbs in bulk for a very cheap price compared to many other online stores that I know using iHerb, and I will link some of these products that we've mentioned in the description below if you are interested. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do let me know if you are interested in complete herb profile for many of the common herbs that we use, as well as their medicinal benefits, some recipes, and some tips and tricks to use the herbs in and around your family. Please do take care and check out the channel, see if it resonates, and subscribe. Would love to have you on board. Take care and bye-bye.